Hare Krishna. So today is Varaha Dwadasi. So today we will first cover the verse which is on the board, and then we'll talk a little bit about Lord Varahadev also. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 3, chapter number 25, text number 4. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sutta Vacha Dvaipayana Sakastvevam Dvaipayana Sakastvevam Maitreyo Bhagavanstata Maitreyo Bhagavanstata Prahedam Viduram Prita Prahedam Viduram Prita Anviksikyam Prachoditaha Anviksikyam Prachoditaha Sutta Vacha Dvaipayana Sakasteva Maitreyo Bhagavanstata Prahedam Viduram Prita Anviksikyam Prachoditaha Sutta Vacha Dvaipayana Sakasteva Maitreyo Bhagavanstata Prahedam Viduram Prita Anviksikyam Prachoditaha Sutta Vacha Dvaipayana Sakasteva Maitreyo Bhagavanstata Prahedam Viduram Prita Sutta Vacha Dvaipayana Sakastvam Evam Maitreyo Bhagavanstata Prahedam Viduram Prita Anviksikyam Prachoditaha Sutta Vacha Sakastvam Matajis. Word for word translation. Sutta Vacha. Sutta Goswami said. Dvaipayana Sakha, friend of Vyasadeva. Two, then. Evam, thus. Maitreya, Bhagavan, worshipful. Tata, in that way. Praha, spoke. Idam, this. Viduram, to Vidura. Prita, being pleased. Anviksikya, about transcendental knowledge. Prachoditaha, being asked. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation, Sri Sutta Goswami said, the most powerful sage, Maitreya, was a friend of Vyasadeva. Being encouraged and pleased by Vidura's inquiry about transcendental knowledge, Maitreya spoke as follows. Purport. Questions and answers are very satisfactorily dealt with when the inquirer is bona fide and the speaker is also authorized. Here Maitreya is considered a powerful sage, and therefore he is also described as Bhagavan. This word can be used not only for the Supreme Personality Godhead, but for anyone who is almost as powerful as the Supreme Lord. Maitreya is addressed as Bhagavan because he was spiritually far advanced. He was a personal friend of Dvaipayana Vyasadeva, a literary incarnation of the Lord. Maitreya was very pleased with the inquiries of Vidura because they were the inquiries of a bona fide advanced devotee. Thus Maitreya was encouraged to answer. When there are discourses on transcendental topics between devotees of equal mentality, the questions and answers are very fruitful and encouraging. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksuralmetam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today's verse and purport is explaining or discussing about the theme of how when there are discourses of Krishna Katha, both the speaker has to be bona fide and also the hearers of Bhagavatam, they also have to be bona fide. Meaning, Prabhupada in the purport is explaining, question and answers are very satisfactorily dealt with when the inquirer is bona fide and the speaker is also authorized. So Prabhupada is saying that whenever there is any Bhagavad Katha or any discussions about Krishna or any Bhagavatam class which is going or Bhagavad Gita class, there is a responsibility from the speaker's side and there is also a responsibility from the hearer's side, those who are hearing that Krishna Katha. So what are the responsibilities of the speaker and what are the responsibilities of the hearer? So we can discuss a bit about that. So in terms of the speaker who is speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada explains that the speaker has to be authorized, which means the speaker has to be speaking something about Krishna or speaking something from the Shastras in line with disciplic succession. Like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Evam Parampara Praptam, that transcendental knowledge, Praptam, it is received. How? By Parampara. That is the proper way to receive Divya Gyan or transcendental knowledge. The proper way we study the Shastras, the proper way we get spiritual wisdom is through disciplic succession. So that is the responsibility from the speaker's side, that whatever he is speaking about Krishna should not be something from his own mental concoction or his own beliefs and theories, but whatever he is speaking should be directly in line with the previous acharyas. It should be coming down in the chain of disciplic succession. Then it has value. That's why Prabhupada, he named our Bhagavad Gita as Bhagavad Gita as it is, which means Bhagavad Gita, as it is, coming down from disciplic succession. Not Bhagavad Gita as I would like it to be, or Bhagavad Gita as I think it is. If we look, there's hundreds of different editions of Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada says in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, that previously, before I wrote Bhagavad Gita as it is, there are already more than 100 different editions of Bhagavad Gita. But if we look all around the world, there's not even one single devotee of Krishna outside of India. Why? Because all these Bhagavad Gitas, they're not the real Bhagavad Gita. They've been interpreted in different ways, and that's why the essence or the message of the Bhagavad Gita has been lost. Prabhupada gives the example, just like you have some medicine. If you take the medicine as it is, according to the directions of the medicine bottle, the medicine will have effect. But if we mix water into the medicine, thinking, this medicine is very bitter, let me mix some water, dilute the taste. Or if we mix some cordial, or some Fanta, or Sprite into the medicine and dilute the medicine, then the medicine won't have the same effect because the medicine has been diluted. And Prabhupada explains that this is what has happened with all the other editions of Bhagavad Gita. All these authors of all these other editions of Gita, they have changed the message of the Gita. And they put their own views and theories, their own interpretations. And that's why the real essence or the message of the Bhagavad Gita has been lost. So therefore, when people read these other editions of Gita, their hearts aren't transformed. Bhakti in their hearts doesn't develop. And therefore, no one is becoming devotees. But Prabhupada explains, after we wrote Bhagavad Gita as it is, coming down through drastic succession, now you look at the effect. All around the world, in every single country, in every single city, now there's devotees of Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, singing and dancing in front of Krishna, and worshipping Krishna with the mind, body, and words. So Prabhupada says this is the real effect when we present Shastra, when we present Krishna Katha through disciplic succession, without putting our own interpretations in it. So that is the responsibility from the speaker's side, that whenever we're speaking about Krishna, we should make sure that every single thing we're speaking is in line with Guru Parampara, is in line with Srila Prabhupada's teachings, with our previous acharyas. We should never make up anything based on our own theories or beliefs or mental concoction. So that is our responsibility. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, he gives a nice guideline in one class for how a speaker of Bhagavatam should speak about Krishna. He says whoever is speaking about Krishna, they should fulfill three things. Number one, whatever they're speaking should be pleasing to the ear. Number two, whatever the speaker is speaking should be authoritative, which means it should be based on Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And third number qualification of the speaker is that, third one is, whatever he is speaking should be spoken in a mood of compassion or in a mood to help the audience advance in their spiritual life. So with that attitude or that mood, one should speak about Krishna. So point number one is whatever he is speaking should be pleasing to the ear. So that is one responsibility of the speaker. That yes, he could be repeating, whatever Prabhupada said and whatever the previous acharya said, whatever the Shastra says, but he should present it in a manner in which the audience will be attracted. He should present it in a manner in which the audience can understand the philosophy very easily. So he should give practical examples, he should say realizations, he should tell some stories, make the class, present the class in such a way that people will be attracted to learn more about Krishna. So whatever the speaker is speaking, it is his responsibility to make those narrations about Krishna very pleasing to the ear of the audience. In 11th canto of Bhagavatam, there's one verse which glorifies devotees of Krishna by comparing them to water. So if we look at water, there's different characteristics of water. One of the characteristics of water is that water is transparent. You can see through water. Water is transparent. So in the same way, Bhagavatam says that devotees of Krishna, they have to be also transparent just like water. Just like water, you can see directly through it. Same way a devotee, he should be transparent in his life. Which means he shouldn't be duplicitous. Which means, there is no difference between his private life and his public life. Like many in India, there will be so many sadhus, babajis, saints or sannyasis. In the public, they will act, very nicely as a nice holy man, dressed in saffron, matted hair. In public, they'll put up a show of being a very, nice, austere sadhu, but their private life is completely different. When they're away from the public, in their homes or houses, they will engage in all sorts of nonsense. So this is the meaning of, this is one meaning we can take from water, that just like water is transparent, same way as devotees, we should be transparent in our lives, which means there should be no difference between our public life and our private lives. We should be the same nice, humble devotee outside when we're dealing with public, and even at home, we should be that same person. Not that externally outside we put up a show of being a very nice, humble devotee, but when we're away, then we do all sorts of nonsense privately. Another lesson we can learn from water, Bhagavatam explains that water is purifying. According to Shastra, whenever we need to purify something, we use water. Just like in deity worship, before we engage in deity worship, we use water to do achaman. We do achaman to purify our body, and then we go and serve the Supreme Lord. Whenever there is any cleaning, we always use water for cleaning. Just like the pujari now, he's cleaning the altar. He is using water and a cloth to wipe the floor of the altar. So whenever it comes to purifying anything, we always use water in Vedic culture. Srila Prabhupada, especially during his time, he always wanted his devotees to use a lot of water when it comes to cleaning. Prabhupada used to always tell his devotees that splash a lot of water. The more water you use for cleaning, the better it is. So just like water has a purifying effect, water purifies different things. In the same way, Bhagavatam explains that devotees of the Lord, they should be like that. They should be like water. They should be so pure on the inside that whoever comes in touch with them, they get purified. So Bhagavatam explains that pure devotees of the Lord, they're like walking temples. Like here we have a stationary temple. This temple isn't walking, it's not moving anyway, it's just stationary. But Bhagavatam explains, Prabhupada explains that Krishna's devotees, they're like two-legged temples. They're like temples walking on two legs. Why? What is the definition of temple? A temple is a place where Krishna is residing. So this place is temple because Shri Shri Radha Gopinath are residing here. This is Shri Shri Radha Gopinath's house or palace. So in the same way, devotees of the Supreme Lord, they love Krishna so much that Swayam Bhagavan Shri Krishna is residing in their hearts. So because Krishna is residing in the hearts of his pure devotees, these pure devotees' bodies become just like a temple of Krishna. So that's how Prabhupada explains that pure devotees of the Lord, they're just like walking temples. They're like two-legged temples. So just like when we come to this temple, we get purified. We come take darshan of Krishna. Our eyes get purified, our senses get purified, our mind gets purified, our consciousness gets purified. In the same way, when we come in touch with two-legged temples of the Lord, or when we come in touch with moving temples of the Lord, or when we come in touch with the pure devotees of the Lord, we also get purified by the association. So Bhagavatam explains that as devotees, we should be like that. Just like water is all purifying, in the same way, we should be so pure in our consciousness, in our sadhana, in our daily practices, in our activities, that we should be completely pure on our inside, that when people from outside, they come in touch with us, they have a transformation of heart, they have a transformation of consciousness, and they get spiritually elevated. So just like water is transparent, we should be transparent in our lives, we shouldn't be duplicitous. There should be no difference between our public and private lives. And just like water has a purifying effect, in the same way, we should be so pure internally that we can also have that purifying effect upon other people. So that when people come in touch with us, they get inspired to take shelter of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath. Third lesson Bhagavatam explains we can learn from water is just like the sound of water has a very pleasing effect on the ears, in the same way, whatever a sadhu or whatever a devotee of the Lord speaks should be very pleasing to the ears of others. So what does it mean by the pleasing sound of water? Example is given just like a flowing river. Say we go to a nice forest, and in the forest there's a nice big river, and the river will be flowing in one direction. And as the water of the river is flowing, there's a nice pleasing sound vibration. And if we just stop and just listen to the sound of the river flowing, it's very pleasing and soothing for the ears. It's very calming for the mind. Same way, if we go to the ocean or go to some beach, like we have Manly Beach close by. So if we go to Manly Beach or Bondi and we go onto the shore, we can, if we go early in the morning when there's not many people, when we can hear the waves of the ocean, slowly coming in and slowly going out. Slowly coming in and slowly going out. And if you just focus on the sound of the waves coming in and the waves going out, it's very pleasing to the ear. And it's very soothing for the mind. That's why I said in Ashtanga Yoga, when one is doing the different asanas, or even in pranayama, when one is breathing in, breathing out, it is said that as one is breathing in and breathing out, while doing the yoga postures, one is supposed to meditate on the waves of the ocean. So as one is breathing in, one is supposed to meditate on the ocean waves coming in. And as one is breathing out, one is supposed to meditate on the ocean waves going out. So the sound of the waves of the ocean is used in yoga for meditation. So just like the flowing of a river, the sound vibration that's very pleasing to the ear, or just like the waves of the ocean is very pleasing to the ear. Or another example is that of waterfalls. So if we go to a nice place where there's waterfalls, like in Katoomba, so if we go out west, 2 hours up into the Blue Mountains in Katoomba area, there's a lot of waterfalls. And again, the sounds of the water dripping down and splashing on the ground, it's very pleasing to the ear. So in the same way, just like the flowing of water has a very pleasing effect on the ears, in the same way, whatever a devotee speaks from his mouth should be very pleasing to the ears of people in general. So that is one responsibility of the speaker of Bhagavatam, or someone who's speaking about Krishna. That whatever he is speaking should be pleasing to the ears of the audience, should be presented in a way that people are attracted and people get drawn towards Krishna. People get inspired to take shelter of Krishna. So that's the first qualification. Second one, Radha Maharaj explains, is that whatever he speaks should be authoritative, which means it should be according to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. He should never speak something from his own mental concoction. And thirdly, he says, the mood of the speaker is that he should speak in a mood of compassion, which means he should speak in a mood of helping the audience advance in their spiritual life. So this should be the mood of all speakers of Krishna Katha. That the mood is not to show off, how much knowledge they have, how many slokas they memorize, or how nicely they study the Shastras. The mood is not to get name and fame, glory and praise from others. But their mood is simply that of service. They're seeing this opportunity to speak about Krishna as an opportunity to serve others by inspiring them and helping them in their spiritual lives. So in that mood of helping others, come close to Krishna's lotus feet, the speaker is supposed to speak Srimad Bhagavatam. His Holiness Niranjan Maharaj, one time he was sharing that before he gives any class, he always prays to Krishna that, my dear Lord, please bless me so I can inspire the devotees to come closer to your lotus feet. So this should be the mood of all speakers. So the mood is that, let me speak something about Krishna, that devotees will be more attracted towards Krishna. They will be more attracted to do bhakti or devotional service. And Maharaj also was revealing that he also prays to Krishna that, my dear Lord, please engage me as an instrument of compassion. So the speaker always understands that he's just simply an instrument in the hand of Krishna, and he's just simply repeating whatever he has heard from his spiritual teachers. So that is the qualification, or that is the responsibility of the speaker. He should speak the Shastra in a pleasing manner, in a way that is attractive to the audience. It should be according to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And thirdly, the mood in which he is speaking is in a mood of service, in a mood of helping the audience come closer to Krishna. So that is the responsibility of the speaker. Now on the other side, Prabhupada explains, just like there are responsibilities for the speaker, there is also responsibilities for those who are hearing Bhagavatam, for those who are hearing Krishna Katha. So one class, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, he very nicely summarizes the mood or attitude of the hearers of Bhagavatam. So he says, firstly, whoever is hearing Bhagavatam, they should have respect for the speaker. They should have appreciation. Thirdly, they should have gratitude. And fourthly, they should have affection. So the easy way to remember this is Raga, R-A-G-A. So R for respect, A for appreciation, G for gratitude, and then A again for affection. So R-A-G-A, Raga. So that's a nice, easy way to remember this. So whoever is hearing Bhagavatam, whenever we are hearing about Krishna, we should tick all four of these boxes. If we tick all four of these boxes, we are hearing Bhagavatam in proper mood, and the desired benefit will be bestowed upon us. So firstly, whenever we're hearing about Krishna from someone, we should have respect for the speaker. Although that speaker might be younger than us in age, or maybe less knowledgeable than us, still we should have respect for that person. Seeing him as a devotee of Krishna, seeing him as, giving us an opportunity to hear about Krishna. So regardless of who the speaker of Krishna Katha is, if he is speaking according to authority, according to Guru Sharan Shastra, we should have respect for him. Just like here we're seeing Vidura and Maitreya, they are discussing about Krishna. Maitreya is the speaker and Vidura is hearing Bhagavatam. Now technically speaking, Vidura, he is more spiritually advanced than Maitreya Rishi, because Vidura is Yamaraj. And who is Yamaraj? Yamaraj is one of the Mahajans, one of the 12 authorities in devotional service. So technically speaking, Vidura or Yamaraj is more spiritually advanced than Maitreya Rishi. But who is hearing? Vidura is hearing. One would expect that Vidura will be giving the Bhagavatam class and Maitreya Rishi will be hearing, but no, actually the role is switched. Although technically speaking, Vidura is more spiritually advanced, Maitreya Rishi is speaking Bhagavatam, and Vidura is peacefully hearing, with full respect, affection, gratitude, and appreciation for Maitreya Rishi. So in this way, devotee is very humble, and even if the speaker might be, younger than him, even though the speaker might be less qualified than him or less advanced, still the devotee, in a humble attitude, he still hears Bhagavatam with respect for the speaker, with gratitude for the speaker, affection and appreciation. So that's the first thing we need to have, is respect for the speaker. Secondly, we should have appreciation for the speaker. We should feel grateful that, this person, he is giving us an opportunity to hear about Krishna. He has taken his time out to, speak something about Krishna, to prepare something from the Bhagavatam. And by coming here, by hearing from him, I'm getting an opportunity to learn more about Krishna. I'm getting purified. So one should have that appreciation. Thirdly, gratitude. We should have gratitude for the speaker. And lastly, affection. We should feel genuine love and affection for the speaker. So when the gratitude is very high, then naturally love and affection will be there for the speaker. That, we feel so indebted to the speaker that because of this person, I'm getting a chance to hear more about Krishna. I'm getting a chance to come closer to Krishna. I'm getting a chance to learn how I can better do devotional service. In this way, one feels great affection for the speaker. So in this way, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, he explains what should be the proper mood in which we hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And other qualifications is that we should be obviously very attentive during class, and we should be very eager. That is another quality which is highlighted, that we should have that great eagerness to hear about Krishna. We should be very enthusiastic. Regarding this, there's one nice story about Lord Shiva. There is one temple of Lord Shiva in Navadvip Dham. It's called the Hamsa Vahana temple. And this temple, Lord Shiva, he is riding on a swan. So how did this pastime come about? There's one nice story behind it. So one time in Navadvip Dham, there was a class going on about Chaitanya Leela. So today we're discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. So like this, in Navadvip Dham, there was a class going on, Chaitanya Leela, about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Lord Shiva, he finds out that, there's class going on about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates in Navadvip Dham. And he's in Kailash, and he wants to come quickly, to attend the class. He doesn't want to be late for the, Chaitanya Charitamrita class. But, so he calls his bull, Nandi. So Lord Shiva's carrier is Nandi, it's a bull. But bulls, they can't run that fast. So Lord Shiva's getting on his bull and he's telling Nandi, quickly, we're late for class. In 5 minutes, Srimad Chaitanya Charitamrita class is going to start. We're running late. Go quicker. But Nandi, he has a limit. He's just a bull. He can't go that fast. Nandi is trying his best, but he can't go any faster. And then Lord Shiva, he gives up on Nandi. And then Lord Shiva, he gets his iPhone out. He makes a WhatsApp call to Lord Brahma. He calls up Lord Brahma. Hare Krishna Prabhu, how are you? And Lord Brahma says, yeah, Hare Krishna, I'm doing good. What's happening? And Lord Shiva tells Brahma that, there is class going on in Navadvip Dham. I'm running late. I'm trying, but Nandi, he's too slow. Is it okay if I borrow your Hamsa just for today? So just like Lord Shiva, he rides on Nandi. Same way Lord Brahma, his carrier is Hamsa, which is a swan. And swans, obviously, they can go or Hamsa can go much faster than Nandi, which is a bull. So Lord Shiva, he asks Lord Brahma, can I borrow your swan just for today to reach the class in time to hear about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Then Brahma says, okay, you can take, but any speeding fines, it's on you. I'm not going to pay for it. Then Lord Shiva says, okay. And then Lord Brahma gives his Hamsa. Then Lord Shiva, he rides on Hamsa, quickly comes to Navadvip Dham, just in time to hear Chaitanya Charitamrita class. So from this pastime, we see the eagerness we should have to hear about Krishna, or to hear about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is one of the more qualities given for the hearers of Bhagavatam. They should be very eager and enthusiastic to hear about Krishna. And Lord Shiva, as the Parama Vaishnava, it said, Vaishnavanam Yatha Sambhu. Out of all the devotees of Krishna, out of all the Vaishnavas, Lord Shiva is glorified as the greatest devotee of Lord Vishnu, as the greatest devotee of Lord Krishna. So I think in a few weeks' time, towards the end of this month, Shiva Ratri is also coming. So that's another day we can remember Lord Shiva as the greatest of all Vaishnavas. So Lord Shiva, by his practical example, is demonstrating how we should be very eager to hear Bhagavatam, or eager to hear about Krishna. It is said that we can judge our advancement in our spiritual life by how eager we are to hear about Krishna. So that is one of the litmus tests to find out. So many times this question comes up, how do I know whether I'm advancing or not? So the one way we can judge whether we're advancing in spiritual life is by gauging how eager we are to hear about Krishna. If we're seeing that our eagerness, our enthusiasm to hear about Krishna is increasing, then we can know that we are advancing more and more. Because the very reason we're here in this material world is out of envy for Krishna. Because we envied Krishna's position in the spiritual world, therefore we're here in this material world. So the more eager we are to hear about Krishna, the more less our envy has become. So that means we're advancing more and more. So that is a little bit about this verse. So this verse is talking about the responsibility of both the speaker of Bhagavatam and both the hearer of Bhagavatam. So we discussed a bit about the responsibilities of both the speaker and the hearer. Now we can talk a little bit about Lord Varahadev. So today is Varaha Dwadasi. Today is the day that Lord Varahadev, he appeared. So as we all know, Lord Varahadev, he's the boar incarnation of the Lord. He's the avatar of the Lord that lifted Mother Earth from the Garbhodaksha ocean. And according to Bhagavatam, there is actually two Varahadevs. There is one Varahadev called Shukla Varaha, which is whitish Varahadev, or whitish boar incarnation of the Lord. And there's another one which is called Nila Varahadev. Nila Varahadev is the bluish boar incarnation of the Lord. And these two Varahadevs, they come at two different times. So Sweta Varahadev, which is the whitish boar incarnation of Krishna, he comes in the beginning of Brahma's day, during the reign of Swayambhu Manu, during the first Manvantara. So in one day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. And each Manu, they rule for a certain part of Brahma's day. So 1/14 of a day of Brahma is how long each Manu rules for. So in a day of Brahma, there is 1,000 Divya Yugas. So if you divide 1,000 by 14, it comes to 71 or 72 Divya Yugas. So each Manu, each of the 14 Manus rules for 71 or 72 Divya Yugas. So in the very first Manvantara, the Manu for that period was Swayambhu Manu. So initially, at the start of Brahma's day, Brahma is creating different living entities. And Brahma, initially, he creates, the four Kumaras, hoping that these four Kumaras, they will get married and they would produce children, and this way the universe will be populated. But things don't go according to plan. After producing the four Kumaras, Brahma asks them to get married, but the four Kumaras, they refuse. There's one nice picture in Bhagavatam showing this, Brahma is asking the four Kumaras to get married, and the four Kumaras are going like this. No, I'm not going to get married like that to Lord Brahma. So, and they're just, small little children, and, very cute, with shaved head, small shika at the back. They're just going like this, looking in different directions. No, I'm not going to get married. So actually, according to Shastra, it's given that there is one instruction of the Guru, one can disobey and one won't get any reaction, or one won't do any aprad or sin. And that is, if the Guru asks one to get married, and if someone doesn't want to get married, then one can say no to the Guru or the spiritual master, and one won't do any aprad, one won't get any sin. So the four Kumaras, in saying no to Lord Brahma, they didn't do anything wrong. According to Shastra, that concession is given. And that is one instance where one can say no to Guru. So the four Kumaras, for higher reasons, to advance in the spiritual life, to keep their life simple, and for higher purposes, they refuse to get married. So now Brahma is in dilemma, It is my duty to populate the universe, and I produce these four sons, but they're refusing to get married. Now how will the universe be populated? Then he creates Shiva. Shiva comes from, out of his temporary anger. And the children that Shiva produces, they're all like, very demoniac in nature, and they all start destroying the whole universe. So then Brahma tells Shiva, okay, calm down, stop producing more and more children. Whoever are being produced from you, they're all, very demoniac, and they're all just destroying the universe. So then Brahma tells Lord Shiva, take a break, go to the forest, do tapasya. So Shiva also is unable to help Lord Brahma populate the universe. Then Brahma is thinking what to do, and then finally, Swayambhu Manu comes from Lord Brahma. And Brahma and Swayambhu Manu, unlike the four Kumaras, is coming and very humbly offering respects to Lord Brahma and telling Brahma, I am your son, I am your servant, please instruct me what I should do. And Brahma says, that I'm very pleased by your submissive attitude, all sons should be like this, following their father. And you please help me populate the universe, produce progeny with your wife. But then Swayambhu Manu says, yes, of course, I will follow whatever instructions you give me. I will definitely populate the universe. But there is one problem. Planet Earth, if you see, my dear Lord, planet Earth has fallen into the Garbhodaksha ocean. So if you can please lift the planet Earth from the Garbhodaksha ocean, then I can go on and do my duties of populating the universe. So then Brahma looks down and he sees that, yes, what Swayambhu Manu is saying has happened. The earth has fallen into Garbhodaksha ocean somehow or other. And Brahma is thinking how to get the earth out, from Garbhodaksha ocean. Brahma is thinking, he doesn't know what to do. And then he starts meditating on Shri Radha Gopinath. He starts meditating on Krishna, and he starts asking Krishna for help. And as he's meditating on Krishna, at that time it's given that Lord Varahadev, he appears from Brahma's nostril. So how was Brahma born? Brahma was born from the navel of his Supreme Lord, Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Now the same Lord who gave him birth from the navel, that same Lord is now taking birth from his nostril. So Krishna, he always does his pastimes in a very unique way, in a way we can never expect or predict. So at all different ways Krishna could have manifested himself. This time he just decides, this time I will come from Brahma's nostril. That's a nice, cool way to appear, So out of all the different ways, Krishna, he chooses to just pop out of Brahma's nose. So Brahma is meditating on Krishna, how to take the earth out from the ocean, Garbhodaksha ocean, and then Lord Varadev, he just pops out from Brahma's nose. Initially he's very small, he comes out small, but then slowly he starts expanding, until he goes into a huge form, taking up, space of the universe. And Brahma is watching, this something has come out of his nose, and this something is growing. Then he sees it's like this huge boar, whitish in complexion, with huge tusks. Then Lord Varadev, he gives out a big roar, and hearing the transcendental sound vibration coming from the Supreme Lord's lotus mouth, all the great sages and rishis of the higher planetary systems, they understand that this is none other than the Supreme Personality Godhead. He has taken this unique form to help us. So then all the sages and rishis in Janaloka, Tapaloka, Mahaloka, in the higher planetary systems, they all start glorifying the Supreme Lord by reciting different prayers and mantras from the Vedas. And Lord Varadev, he glances he gives a nice sidelong look to the sages, pleasing them, acknowledging their prayers, and then he dives into the water to rescue Mother Earth from the depths of Garbhodaksha ocean. Now, Lord Varadev, he's huge. So when he goes and he dives down, into the Garbhodaksha ocean, he's coming down with such force and weight that, generally, let's say a swimming pool, say someone is diving into the swimming pool, some high point. When they enter the water, what generally happens? You see a big splash of water. The bigger the object that is falling in the water, the bigger the splash. So generally, if someone is falling like that, there'll be one splash of water going that side and another splash of water going the other side. So when Lord Varadev, he jumped or dived into the Garbhodaksha ocean, he was so powerful, he was so big, so weighty, that it was as if the whole ocean was being split in half. So two huge waves of water were going from both sides. So just as you can imagine, just as he is entering the water, one huge wave is like tsunami wave is going that side, another huge tsunami wave is going that side. And it's as if like the whole ocean is just going to be cut in half or split in half. With that great force, he enters into the water. Then he dives deep into the ocean of Garbhodaksha ocean. Then he finds Mother Earth at the bottom. Then he rescues Mother Earth and brings her back up. So that is the first Varaha incarnation of the Lord. So this is during the first Manvantara, during the reign of Swayambhu Manu. The second time Lord Varahadev appears, that is during Chakshusa Manvantara. So as we're explaining, there are 14 Manus in one day of Brahma. So during the first Manvantara, during Swayambhu Manu's time, the first Varahadev comes, Sukla Varaha, which is the whitish Varahadev. The second time he comes is during Chakshusa Manu. Chakshusa Manu, he comes during the sixth Manvantara. So sixth Manvantara is the Manvantara before the current one. So currently we're in the seventh Manvantara. We're in the Manvantara of Vevaswata Manu. So 7 Manvantara is kind of like in the middle of Brahma's day. So in one day of Brahma, there's 14 Manus. So the 7th Manu will be coming during when half of one day of Brahma has passed. So right now, we're in the 7th Manvantara, which means now in Brahma Loka, Lord Brahma, he'll be having his lunch. So now is his lunch time, because half his day has passed. So he'll be taking his lunch, rice, dal, sabji, puris, and he'll be looking down, what's happening down in planet Earth, Oh wow, Srila Prabhupada, the Sena Bhakti Bhakta of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has liberated the whole earth, by preaching in every town and village. So currently, it'll probably be around Brahma's lunchtime, because it's the 7th Manvantara, halfway through Brahma's day. So previous to this Manvantara, in Chakshusa Manvantara, that is when the second Varahadev comes. So unlike the first one, which is Sukla Varahadev, whitish Varahadev, the second one, Bhagavatam explains, is called Neela Varahadev, or bluish Varahadev. So this time, he comes in a different complexion. In Bhagavatam, it's given bluish. I guess in some other references, it's given reddish, Rakta Varahadev. So, in the pictures, it's also given like that. So, maybe in different days of Brahma, Lord Varahadev takes different colors. But in this third canto, it's given as Neela Varahadev. Some references are like that. So maybe in different days of Brahma, he assumes different colors. But the first one is whitish, definitely, Sukla Varahadev. So this second Varahadev that comes during Chakshusa Manu, or Chakshusa Manvantara. And this time he comes for a slightly different purpose. This is the time when he comes to kill the demon Hiranyaksha. So the first time he came was to rescue Mother Earth, to help Swayambhu Manu. Swayambhu Manu had to populate the universe. But somehow or other, the earth had fallen into the ocean, Garbhodaksha ocean, and Lord Varahadev, he rescued the earth. And that was it. But the second time he comes, at this time, there was a big demon named Hiranyaksha, who was the younger brother of the famous demon, Hiranyakashipu, who Lord Nrsimhadev killed. And this Hiranyaksha, he was going all around the universe, creating trouble for all the demigods. He had got some boons from the demigods, or Lord Brahma, and being overly proud with his powers and abilities, he used to go and harass all the demigods, and all the demigods used to flee from him. But he was still searching around the universe for someone to give him a good fight. Then finally he goes and he meets Varunadev. And he starts teasing Varunadev that, oh Varunadev, you're so great. You're such a great demigod. Of all the demigods, you're the topmost. You're so powerful. You're so strong. There is no one greater than you. please, my dear Lord, give me battle. I want to fight someone. I want to smash someone. You are so great, you can give me a good battle. Please fight with me. Like this demon here in Aksha, he starts teasing, making fun of Varuna Dev. And Varuna Dev, he very nicely counteracts this demon by telling him, I'm old now, I'm not capable of fighting. We've become old. We've been around too long. But there is one person who can give you a good battle, and that is Lord Vishnu himself. So you wait for some time. One day Vishnu will come and he will give you a good battle. And that's what happens. Later on, here in Aksha, somehow by his abilities, he pushes Mother Earth into the Garbhodaksha ocean again. And this time, to rescue Mother Earth, Lord Varahadev, again he appears. But this time, instead of appearing from Lord Brahma's nose, he appears from the water of Garbhodaksha ocean. So the first time he appeared in Swayambhu Manvantara as Sukla Varahadev, as the whitish Varahadev, he appeared from Brahma's nostril. But the second time he appears as Neela Varahadev or the bluish Varahadev to kill Hiranyaksha, this time he just appears from Garbhodaksha ocean. He just manifests himself from the ocean. And he first rescues Mother Earth and places her in a safe position. And as he's diving deep into the ocean to rescue Mother Earth, this demon Hiranyaksha, he's watching. And this demon Hiranyaksha is offering all sorts of foul language. He's using all swear words and insulting words and, teasing and chastising the Supreme Lord, speaking a lot of foul language in criticism of Lord Varahadev. And it's given in Bhagavatam that as Lord Varahadev was hearing all these insults coming at him, Lord Varahadev, he was actually displeased in his heart. He was a bit hurt inside. And Prabhupada in the purport, he explains that Krishna is a person just like us. And just like when someone appreciates us for who we are, we feel happy and we feel grateful. And when someone insults us, we feel bad, we feel hurt. In the same way, because Krishna is a person just like us, Krishna also feels happy and grateful when we glorify him, when we offer him praise, when we thank him, speak sweet words to him. And Krishna also feels pain in his heart when someone chastises him or when someone speaks insulting words. So Prabhupada Bhagavatam explains that when Lord Varahadev was being insulted by this demon Hiranyaksha, Lord Varahadev, he was feeling a bit hurt in his heart. But he didn't let that get to his head. Instead, he ignored this demon, Varahadev, and he focused on rescuing Mother Earth. Because he could see that Mother Earth, she is very frightened. So Lord Varahadev was thinking in his mind, Prabhupada explains, that Lord Varahadev is thinking that at this point in time, my first duty is to put Mother Earth somewhere safe. Then I can deal with this demon Hiranyaksha. I can come back to him later. But at this moment, my first priority is to save or rescue Mother Earth. My first priority is to put Mother Earth in a safe position because she's become very fearful. So Lord Varahadev, he ignores this demon Hiranyaksha and he picks up Mother Earth and he puts his potency into Mother Earth and he makes her float on the water of Garbhodaksha ocean. And he keeps her safe there. Then after finishing his first duty of saving Mother Earth, then he comes and addresses this demon, Hiranyaksha. So Prabhupada, he explains in his purport that many times in our spiritual life, there'll be many things we have to do. And we need to prioritize our activities properly. So in this case, we see Lord Varahadev. On one hand, he has to rescue Mother Earth. On the other hand, there's this demon insulting him. But he's prioritizing. Okay, first priority is to save Mother Earth. Let me do that first. Then, second priority, let me kill this demon. And Prabhupada explains another lesson we can learn, that many times when we do our devotional service, we will face many obstacles or challenges from the external world. People from outside will tease us, what is this? You're wasting your life. Why are you doing this Krishna bhakti? This is meant for sannyasis. What are you doing? Trying to become a sannyasi, This is when you become old in life, Don't waste your time. Life is meant for enjoying. Like this, people will tease us, offer insulting words at us. But Prabhupada says, just like Lord Varahadev, he's ignoring all these insults and just continuing on with his devotional service. In the same way, whatever criticism comes towards us or insults comes to us from outside people, it could be from our own family or people from outside, teasing us for doing devotional service. Prabhupada says we shouldn't take it too seriously. We should just ignore it and continue on with our devotional service. So in this way, we can learn these 2 lessons from Lord Varadev. So Lord Varadev is teaching that we should think before acting. So generally, when someone is insulting us, the first natural instinct is to go and, get revenge on that person, fight back, say something back, defend ourselves, get some revenge on that person who's insulting us. But Lord Varadev is teaching us that we should calm down, take a step back and think, is this the right thing to do at this time? Is this the best utilization of my time? So we should always think before acting. So Lord Varadev is thinking, yes, I can kill this demon, but now is not the time. Now is the time for me to save Mother Earth, put her in a safe place. She's very fearful. This is more pride. Let me do this first. Then I will come and kill this demon here in Aksha. So this is one lesson we can learn, that we should always think before acting. And before speaking also, it is said that we should think a dozen times before we speak anything. Because once we have spoken something, once we've done an action, we can't take it back. Once words come out of our mouth, once an action is done, that's it. We can't rewind time like they do in movies. So therefore, we should always think before acting and think before speaking. One story I was hearing from His Grace Radhashyam Prabhu recently regarding this point. It's a nice, funny story. I'll quickly share this story before we'll stop. So once there was this Brahmana, and he was a simple Brahmana, and he was married, but he was very poor. He didn't have much money. So one day his wife comes and starts chastising him, You're not getting a proper job, you're not working, you're not getting any money, we're very poor, we're suffering. Go get a proper job, do some business, get some money for the family. So this simple Brahmana says, okay, I have to do some job. And he sees in a lot of his friends, they're running different businesses, they're running different stores. Some are selling sweets or food, some are selling cloth. Like this, different friends of him are doing different businesses. So he thinks, okay, let me also do something. So he gets a store, and in the store he sits at the front, and he has a whiteboard, a small whiteboard like this. And on the whiteboard he writes down, wisdom for sale. And that's it. The whole storefront is empty. If you come to his store, there's nothing in the store. Everything is empty. There's just this one sadhu sitting, and he just has this sign saying, wisdom for sale. That's it. And he just sits there and he just starts chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And all the people of the village, or of the suburb or town, they're walking by, they're saying, okay, the sweet shop, cloth shop, dress shop, and they come to this Brahmana's shop and they see the whole shop is empty, there's nothing. There's just this one man sitting, and he just has this board saying wisdom for sale. And they think, this man is crazy, who is this guy? And they just walk past, he has nothing. One day the king, he's going on a tour of the kingdom, and he happens to come by this town. And the king is observing, seeing all the different stores in the town center of this particular town. And suddenly he sees this particular shop, and he sees the whole shop is empty. There's just one guy sitting there, and there's just one small sign saying wisdom for sale. And the king becomes curious, who is this guy with this sign, It's very strange. And the king goes and asks this guy. And he sees wisdom for sale. The king asks him, okay, what wisdom can you give me? Can you give me some wisdom today? And the Brahmana says, yes, I have wisdom regarding all different subject matters. And the king says, okay, tell me something that will be useful for my life. Then this Brahmana says, okay, I will tell you something. And this Brahmana says that one should always think of the consequences before acting. So this wisdom, the Brahmana gives to the king, that one should always think of the consequences before acting. The king says, okay, that sounds good, but I can, get this anywhere. What's so great about this? What is the worth of this? And this Brahmana says, actually, what I've just told you, it's worth, millions of dollars. It's actually a very valuable piece of wisdom I'm giving you. It's actually worth millions of dollars. And the king says, oh, really? It's worth millions of dollars? This, few words you've spoken to me? It's like, yes, it's worth millions of dollars. King says, I don't believe you. And the Brahmana says, you will understand in time. You take this wisdom with you, and in future you will understand the value of this statement that I've given to you. King says, okay, he goes back to his kingdom. And he meets his ministers and he tells them, what has happened in his tour. And he says, I met this strange Brahmana and he gave me this wisdom. One should think of the consequences before acting. And the king says, this is a nice saying that this Brahmana spoke. Why don't we, make like a big artwork, like a big painting, artwork, and write these words in a big font so everyone can see. It's a nice saying. It will be a nice decoration for my palace. So the king gets his painters and artists to write this saying in big fonts, in like a mural on the wall. He writes in big, big letters. One should think of the consequences before acting. And the king goes. At this time, all the ministers of the king, they start plotting assassination for the king. They want to kill the king and take over his kingdom. And these ministers, to kill the king, what they do, they start talking to the barber who is supposed to cut the king's hair. And they tell the barber, tomorrow when you go to shave or cut the king's hair, with your knife, you just slit the king's throat and take down the king. And don't worry, we will protect you, nothing will happen. We will take over the kingdom and we'll give you a good post. And this barber was very scared. He was like shivering, how can I do this? How can I do this? This is crazy. I can't kill the king. I can't kill the king. But these ministers are forcing me to do this. So the barber was like completely, in great distress. He didn't know what to do. So next day he comes to give the king a haircut and he's completely shivering. And he comes and then he sees this big sign on the wall in the king's palace saying, think of the consequences before acting. Now this barber, he gets even more scared. His whole body starts shivering. Think of the consequences before acting. Then he starts thinking, what will happen if after I kill the king, I'm going to be finished, that's it. So then he becomes even more fearful. His whole body starts shivering. And the king looks at him shivering and the king starts like, hey, what happened to you, something. Why are you shivering like this? Looks like you just seen a ghost. And the barber's not saying anything, not saying. The king said, it's okay, I'm the king, I will help you. What has happened? Tell me what has happened. And then the barber, he reveals everything. That actually the ministers, they